Over 90% of workplace reports show too much data on charts, and that can make such presentations difficult to read. In this presentation, we will learn how to create dynamic charts that show or hide charts at the click of a button. Philip is a consultant at Web and Software and the founder of excelmonster.com, and he's here to show us how. Philip?
Yeah, Nick, as you can see, we've set out a revenue and expenditure report that shows for each period how much revenue was raked in and then the total expense for that period as well. Now, assuming you'd want to have this display on a chart, and it even gets worse if you have more than two fields, it becomes really serious and crowded, and guys would have to scramble to really make sense of the data. Now, what you'd want to do is to highlight the entire range. Just to hide this for demonstration purpose, I'm going to do insert a couple of rows here, and then I'm going to copy this back to the cell A1. So I copy the entire range. Remember, I have my data for revenue starting on cell B44, so I'm just going to keep that at the back side of my head, and then I do a paste right here. The next thing I do is to set up two cells that would hold a trick to unlock this show and hide options we would want to set up on our chart. So first, in cell A16, I'm going to type revenue right there and then have expense entered in the next cell. And the idea is to have these two cells, B16 and 17, become the trick upon which I build this whole model. So I go over here to cell B2, and guess what? All you do is to type an if statement or a criteria by which the value should be displayed for both revenue and expense in their respective fields. So in B2, I have equals if would do the trick for me, and I go ahead to select the cell for my revenue trick and press F4 to have that locked right there. Now if this cell is equal to true, I'd want to go ahead and display the cell on B44. And just to try that first, but let me bring in the third argument, which is the value if false. What if the cell or the value in cell B16 is not true? Then go ahead and display the error value, which is actually NA open bracket close bracket. That display our error value. And so we try that here. If we type true, you have it working very fine. So I can actually replicate that across the range by deleting whatever I have in B16, and then I'll fill across the range to make sure it's working. I'm going to copy the same thing to cell C2 and have it edited quickly, because I have the same trick working for expense but only for cell B17. And you have this fill across the range as well by double clicking the fill handle. That's really quick to do. So let's test these two cells quickly. I'm going to enter true in both, and I have all the values showing. Good. Now the next thing you want to do is to determine which chart you'd want to use for this example. So first, you'd want to go to the insert tab of your ribbon. You go for any of the charts here. I like the line chart because guess what? Deborah loves it so much. And I'll go ahead and click the line chart and choose line with markers. That helps you to actually also note each of the nodes for your periods. So first, I'll go ahead, copy the entire range here, which I would want to chart. Once I have it copied, I'm going to click anywhere on my chart and just paste. And this really an easy way to have your chart created. The next thing you want to do is to format your periods, because you have it actually crowding up down there on the horizontal axis. So I'm going to go ahead and select the entire range here, right click on the range and choose format cells. Now my format cells make formatting any part of my cells very easy, and that would also reflect on the chart because you have period showing on the horizontal axis. Go ahead and try to delete the two Y's and the dash and add just two M's, so you have 5 M's in all, and that's going to actually show one character for each of the months. So I have a J for January and a D for December, and that's really cool for me. Let me go ahead and delete this legends here, because you are going to know in a minute what is showing on the chart through what we call check boxes. So I go over here to the developer tab, and guess what? In the controls group is a guy called the insert menu. From that menu, you'd want to go ahead and choose from the form controls group your checkbox. Checkbox form control is the one we are using for this example, so always make sure to choose that. I'm going to click right here on top of my chart, and guess what? I'll change the name to revenue. I'd have to do the same for expense. So I go back to insert, choose the checkbox, click somewhere here, and then have that named as expense. Alright, after doing that, you'd want to align both of them. So the quick trick is to select the two, and then from your format menu, you choose align to align top. And of course, I would want to delete the lines I have here beneath my line chart. So I select any of the lines and I hit delete just to get rid of the lines. The next thing you want to do is to link these two buttons. So as I check and uncheck, they actually hide and show the values or the charts. You right click on revenue, for example, you go to format control, and then you want to have the cell linked to cell B16 for revenue, and then you'd want to link for the expense, format control, and then have it linked to cell B17 because you have that little box we created, remember, being the tricks for showing and hiding values. Now if I uncheck revenue, I have revenue off. If I uncheck expense, I have expense off, and I could show both of them at any time I want to. And this is actually a cool trick for hiding and showing certain parts of your chart. Isn't that nice, Nick?
That is very, very nice, Philip. Thank you very much. Visit www.webandsoftware.com for more Excel tips.